I was scrolling on the streets of the internet and I saw what Alex Baniko said about Nigeria. He said so many things about Nigeria, and to some extent, people were doubting him, or people, were trying to argue with him. But personally, I listened to everything Alex said, from talking about the terrorist group, how Nigeria is being ruled by terrorists, and how this terrorist has invaded Nigeria, how the Nigerian army, in an attempt to, to deal with terrorists, they mistakenly dealt with their own people, by their own people. He said so many things and said Nigeria is one of the worst countries on earth, and Nigeria is not useful to itself, and so on. Personally, I am in support of what Alex said, and I say Alex is 100% correct. This country is a terrible place to live in as a human being. I can tell you that this country is one of the worst country on earth to live in. One of the worst country on earth in terms of to habit human life. And I'm saying this without apology, because I am in this country and I know what we pass through daily. Imagine a country that cannot protect its citizens from the terrorists. They cannot even give its citizen employment. They cannot give its citizen portable pipeline water. Electricity is close to zero. Electricity is close to zero. At this point of age of the world of, I can call it jet age, computer age, Nigeria is still a country with electricity less than 20% for its population. You saying this might think, you hearing this might think we don't know what we are saying, but we that live in this country know what we are experiencing and what we are saying. Imagine our president going to have a romance with the British King Charles, while his own country was boiling, while his own country was being destroyed by the terrorists, by the bandits, by the X-Men, and by all form of, the terrorist group. We have a lot of terrorist group in this country, and every day our soldiers, they are incapable with their incapability because they do not have good ammunition, neither do they have the good force or the good weapons to combat these terrorists. If you see the ammunitions these terrorists are using, the weapons they are using, they are highly weaponized, but our military is not weaponized. Then you see our president going with about, let's say, like 200, 300 people, leaving this country on the taxpayers' money to have a romance with the British King Charles. And they did it as if all is well with the country. And I thought what they were going to talk about was going to be bordered on terrorism or bordered on safety of the people. Even has to do with the citizens of the country. But guess what? They were busy going into an elite discussion that has to do with the elites, that has to benefit only the politicians and those in government and the high-ranking people. You see what Alex said is 100% correct. And I want you to watch his video and judge what he said for yourself. If you are in Nigeria, just listen and put in the comment section if Alex is right or wrong. Watch.
Tell you what, if we want to talk about Nigeria, it was only a few months ago that Nigeria sent a fighter jet to carry out airstrikes onto a terrorist group which launched an attack onto another group of hundreds of civilians. And Nigeria sent this fighter jet to bomb them and kill the terrorist group and go after the terrorists who did this terrible attack. But guess what that fighter jet did? Guess what it did? That fighter jet carried out airstrikes onto civilians. It carried out airstrikes onto the civilians that were also chasing after the terrorists. So Nigeria not only failed to kill and go after the terrorists who carried out another huge attack onto civilians only a few months ago, but in the process of trying to do that, they killed the other civilians who were also going after those same terrorists. Last night, 200 civilians in Nigeria were killed by Boko Haram, the terrorist group which Nigeria seems to refuse to even fight. They say all the time, we're going to fight them, but no. Nigeria is probably the most failed country on the planet. And rather than going after these terrorist groups and providing an incentive for these groups not to attack civilians, Nigeria quite often fails so miserably, and they end up, like I've already said, carrying out airstrikes onto their own civilians. And if you don't believe me, you can Google it. That actually happened just a few months ago. Any of you guys attacking me for saying Nigeria is a failed country need to take a look at your